You asked God to take you higher. But did you think elevation would come without examination? You prayed for the palace, but now you're stuck in the prison. You asked for the blessing, but now you're battling storms. Can I tell you something, child of God? You're not being punished. Yo RR being processed. This is not the enemy's attack. This is God's preparation. You're being tested for the place you prayed for, because the weight of the blessing requires the strength of the testing. And if you can survive this fire, if you can hold on in this wilderness, if you can stay faithful when nothing makes sense yet, then what God is about to release into your life will be bigger than anything you ever imagined. You asked God to elevate you, to shift you into a new dimension, to take you higher, to open doors that no man can shut. But what we often forget is that elevation never comes without examination. God does not promote without preparing, and He does not prepare without testing. Every new level you desire comes with a test you must endure. The higher the calling, the deeper the proving. When you say, God, take me the next level, you're also saying, God, stretch me, strip me, shape me. You may not say those words, but that's what heaven hears. Because the next level is not just a location, it's a responsibility. And God will never give you a level you are not equipped to carry. So before He places you in it, He tests you around it. He checks your heart. He checks your intentions. He watches how you handle pressure, how you manage delay, how you respond when no one is applauding, when no one is watching, when no one is affirming your gift. Elevation without preparation is dangerous. You might have the charisma, want clarity, but do you have the character? You might have the vision, but can you handle the warfare that comes with it? We want clarity. God won't let your public platform outgrow your private surrender. That's why you feel the weight. That's why the heat has been turned up. That's why it feels like you're walking through fire. Because fire purifies. Fire reveals what's real. Fire separates gold from garbage. God is using the fire to prove what's inside you. You see, everybody wants the promise, but nobody wants the process. Everybody wants the crown, but nobody wants the cross. But there is no glory without grinding, no throne without thorns, no resurrection without crucifixion. We want clarity. You're being tested in the dark for what God will show in the light. He's checking if you can stay faithful when it's not fun. Can you pray when you're in pain? Can you worship while you're wounded? Can you still believe when everything around you says quit? The test is not about punishment. It's about positioning. God is aligning you. He's strengthening your shoulders for the weight of the blessing. Because some of the things you prayed for are heavy. Some of the doors you asked Him to open come with pressure you've never faced. Some of the levels you desire are filled with battles you haven't seen. And if He gives it to you too soon, it could crush you. So instead of saying, Why me? Try saying, prepare me. The examination is not to expose you, but to expand you. We want clarity. You're learning how to carry more. You're learning how to war in silence. You're learning how to trust Him with no evidence. We want clarity. That's why it feels like everything is being shaken. It's not the enemy. It's the examiner. He's shaking loose what can't go with you. He's removing the things that would destroy you in your next season. He's pruning so that you can produce. When a teacher is silent during a test, it doesn't mean they've left the room. It means it's your turn to show what you've learned. And maybe, just maybe, God has been silent because He wants to see what's in you when the feelings fade. Can you still follow when it's foggy? Clarity. Can you still believe in the blueprint when the building hasn't started? Can you still declare His faithfulness when the outcome looks like failure? You might be crying, but you're being cultivated. You might feel lost, but you're being led. You might feel abandoned, but you're being anointed. The process doesn't always feel good, but it is good. Because when the test is over, you won't just walk into the place you prayed for. You'll be able to sustain it. You'll walk into the room, and it won't break you. You'll carry the mantle, and it won't crush you. Because you were proven in private before being promoted in public. So if you're being tested right now, rejoice. If everything is shaking around you, stand still. If the fire is hot, stay in it. Because the test is a sign that something greater is coming. God doesn't test what He doesn't intend to trust. We want clarity, and the fact that you're going through it means God sees something in you that's worth refining. Don't curse the test. Don't resist the process. Don't despise the pressure. You're being prepared for what you prayed for. This is your proving ground. This is your stretching place. This is where oil is produced. This is where faith is refined. This is where warriors are born. We want clarity. And when you come out of this, you won't come out empty. You'll come out with power. You'll come out with wisdom. You'll come out with a testimony. You'll come out with authority. Because elevation always requires examination. And you're passing through the fire, not to die in it, but to rise from it, stronger, wiser, and ready for the place you were destined to possess. You've been praying for the blessing, for the breakthrough, the opportunity, the promotion, the open door. You've cried for it, fasted for it. We want clarity, waited on it. And now you find yourself in a battle you didn't expect, a struggle you didn't see coming. But can I tell you the truth? The blessing you're waiting for is tied to the battle you're facing. You can't separate the two. Every promise comes with a process. Every blessing is guarded by a battle. If you want the crown, you've got to face the conflict. If you want the inheritance, you've got to endure the war. You don't stumble into blessings without resistance. You fight your way into purpose. You press your way into destiny. You don't just walk into the promised land. You have to go through the wilderness first. You have to survive the giants. You have to outlast the doubt. You have to silence the voices that say, "Clarity, you're not ready. You're not worthy. You can't do it." The enemy knows what you're carrying. That's why the battle has intensified. He's not attacking where you are. He's attacking where you're going. The warfare in your life is not random. It's strategic. It's because there is something in you that hell is afraid of. There is a blessing on your name, a calling on your life, a purpose on your path. And the enemy is trying everything he can to discourage you before you see it manifest. We want clarity. But what he doesn't know is that this battle is only making you stronger. It's not breaking you. It's building you. It's sharpening your discernment. It's deepening your dependence on God. It's teaching you how to war in prayer, how to stand on God's promises, how to walk by faith and not by sight. You ask God to bless you, and He will. But blessings don't fall out of the sky without cost. They come wrapped in obedience. They come wrapped in warfare. They come wrapped in waiting. We want clarity. Some of the doors you're believing for require a version of you that's still being developed. We want clarity. The pressure you're under is preparing you for the platform you're praying for. Because God is not just giving you the blessing. He's making sure you can handle it when it comes. And that's why the battle feels so heavy. That's why the struggle is so real. Because you're not just being fought, you're being forged. You cannot carry the weight of the blessing with weak shoulders. You cannot receive the full measure of the promise if you collapse in the process. So this battle is not to destroy you, it's to discipline you. God is using the resistance to build your resilience. Clarity. He's using the attack to increase your authority. What you conquer now will be the foundation for what you'll rule later. What you fight today will give you the strength to sustain the favor tomorrow. We want clarity. The battle you're in is proof that you're on the edge of something great. The enemy doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him. If he's showing up in your family, in your finances, in your mind, in your emotions, it's because you're carrying something that will shift atmospheres, break generational curses, and change lives. He's terrified of your obedience. He's scared of your praise. He's worried that you'll figure out who you really are in Christ. Chosen, called, appointed, anointed. So don't be surprised by the battle. Expect it. Embrace it. It's part of the journey. It's not a sign that you missed it. It's a sign that you're right on track. If you weren't close to the blessing, we want clarity. You wouldn't be under this kind of pressure. If you weren't about to step into something major, the enemy wouldn't be trying so hard to block you. The very presence of the battle is evidence that the blessing is near. That's why you can't give up now. You can't throw in the towel just because it got hard. You can't let go just because it doesn't feel good. The pressure is temporary, but the blessing is eternal. The pain will pass, but the promise will remain. Don't abort the process before you see the harvest. Don't walk away from the field just before the rain comes. We want clarity. What you're fighting through today will become the very thing you testify about tomorrow. And here's the beauty of it you're not fighting alone. God is with you in the fire. He's standing with you in the storm. He's strengthening your hands for battle. He's covering your mind with peace. He's sending angels to war on your behalf. You may be in the fight, but you are not forsaken. Heaven is backing you. Grace is covering you. Mercy is chasing you down. So hold your ground. Wipe your tears. Square your shoulders. Lift your head. This battle is not your burial. It's your birthing place. It's producing something in you that comfort never could. It's unlocking a level of faith that easy seasons never demand. And when you come out of this, you'll know how to praise Him in the storm. You'll know how to trust Him when you can't trace Him. You'll know how to stand, not in your own strength, but in the power of the Holy Spirit. You prayed for the blessing. Now fight for it. Walk through the valley if you have to. Wrestle in the midnight hour if you must. Want clarity, but don't let go until the blessing breaks through. Because the blessing is on the other side of the battle. And you are closer than you think. You've been waiting, watching, wondering, praying, asking God, when? You've been holding on to a promise, but the delay is starting to feel like denial. You're doing everything you can, staying faithful, staying in prayer, staying obedient. But the door still hasn't opened. The opportunity hasn't shown up. The breakthrough hasn't come. And the temptation is to think God has forgotten. That maybe He changed His mind. But hear this deep in your spiriting. God uses delay to develop discipline. Delay is not a punishment. It's not rejection. It's preparation. When God delays, He's not being silent. He's being strategic. He's working behind the scenes, doing what you cannot see. And while you're focused on the destination, He's focused on your development. He's more concerned with who you're becoming than where you're going. Because if you arrive too early, unprepared, you can damage what you've been called to build. You can lose what He meant for you to sustain. So He delays, not to discourage you, want clarity, but to develop you. It's in the delay that your roots grow deep. It's in the delay that your faith is tested, that your heart is purified, that your motives are exposed. Can you still believe God when there's no visible sign of change? Can you still pray when the answer hasn't come? We want clarity. Can you still worship while you wait? That's what discipline looks like. We want clarity. Not shouting when everything's going your way, but standing still when nothing's moving. Trusting His word even when it contradicts your reality. Discipline is developed when you keep showing up, even when your feelings tell you to quit. When you do what's right, not for a reward, but because it honors God. When you hold on to your integrity in private, knowing God is watching, even when no one else is. That's the training ground of champions. That's where God shapes the vessel. We want clarity, because He's not just trying to give you something. He's trying to make you into something. Some of the things you're asking God to release into your life require a level of maturity you don't even know you need yet. You may have the desire, but do you have the discipline? You may have the dream, but do you have the structure to carry it? We want clarity. God doesn't just want to bless you. He wants to ensure the blessing doesn't break you. That's why He doesn't rush the process. Because every delay is doing a deep work in your character. Look at how God worked in Scripture. David was anointed king, but he went back to the field. He didn't rush to the throne. He served faithfully while waiting. Joseph had a dream, but before he ever touched the palace, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and locked in prison. Delay was part of the design. It wasn't a detour. It was discipline. God used every step to prepare him for what was coming. Because favor without discipline can lead to downfall. Elevation without preparation can end in collapse. God is more interested in lasting fruit than quick results. He's not in a hurry. He's eternal. He sees the end from the beginning. We want clarity. And if He's delaying something in your life, it's because He's building something bigger in you. Don't despise the delay. Don't curse the waiting season. Don't assume God's absence in the silence. This is where He does His best work. In the hidden places. In the quiet places. In the space between the promise and the fulfillment. Discipline is what keeps you grounded when doors begin to open. It's what sustains you when favor finds you. It's what carries you when the spotlight is on you. Without discipline, we, your gift, can take you places your character can't keep you. That's why God takes His time. That's why He doesn't answer every prayer instantly. Because He's not just trying to do a miracle around you. He's trying to build endurance inside you. If you give up in the delay, you'll miss what delay was preparing you for. If you walk away too soon, you'll forfeit what was just about to break through. God uses delay to test your consistency, to see if you can handle. Not yet. With the same faith you had when you first said yes. Will you trust Him even when your timeline doesn't match His? Will you submit to His process even when it feels slow? Because true discipline says, even if it takes longer than I thought, I'm staying. Even if I don't understand, I'm obeying. Even if it costs me my comfort, I'm committed. Discipline turns delay into destiny. It transforms waiting into preparation. It takes what looks like wasted time and makes it holy ground. That's what God is doing for you. He's not delaying to hurt you. He's delaying to heal you, to strip you of pride, to burn away insecurity, to free you from the opinions of people, to get you so anchored in Him, then the blessing shows up. It won't distract you. It won't change you. It won't define you. Because your discipline has already rooted you in who you are. So if you're in a season of delay right now, don't give up. Don't question your calling. Don't assume God has forgotten you. He hasn't. He's just more committed to your growth than your speed. And what's coming is worth every second of the wait. Keep praying. Keep fasting. Keep worshiping. Keep believing. Because the delay is doing more for you than you know. It's developing the discipline that will carry the destiny. There's a reason you're going through this. There's a reason it's been hard. A reason you've been stretched, pushed, broken, and bent. And it's not because God has abandoned you. It's because you're in training. What you're facing right now isn't just opposition. It's preparation. You are in a season where God is testing your endurance, sharpening your faith, and building your strength. Because your testimony will be born from this test. This isn't random pain. This is purposeful pressure. Your test is the training ground for your testimony. You see, it's one thing to hear about faith and another to live it. It's one thing to say, I trust God, and another to walk with Him when nothing is making sense. It's one thing to sing about victory, and another to keep showing up when you feel defeated. But it's in those moments, when you keep going despite your feelings, that God is building something eternal inside you. The story you're living through right now, the fire you're walking through, the tears you're crying, they are all part of the testimony God is writing through your life. You can't have a testimony without a test. You can't minister to others from a place of theory. Real power comes from lived experience. God isn't trying to break you down. He's building you up. He's letting you walk through the fire so that you come out refined, stronger, wiser, with something to say, with oil that can't be faked, with faith that can't be shaken. Your test is producing a depth in you that comfort never could. It might feel unfair, even cruel at times. You may wonder why others seem to be sailing while you're sinking, why their prayers get answered faster, why their doors open more easily. But what God is doing in you is unique. He's building a testimony that will set others free. We want clarity. You're not just going through for yourself. You're going through for someone else who doesn't have the strength to believe yet. Your pain has purpose. Your process has weight. Your journey has value. What's testing you now will one day empower someone else. Think about Joseph. He dreamed of leadership, of greatness. But his road wasn't easy. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Years of injustice, years of being forgotten. But in every step, God was preparing him. The test wasn't proof that God left him. It was proof that God trusted him. And in the end, Joseph stood in a palace he never expected, saying, "What was meant for evil, God used for good." That's what happens when you survive the test. That's what happens when you don't give up in the middle. Your story is still being written. Don't judge it too soon. Don't close the book when God is still adding chapters. This test might be hard, but it's not the end. It's a setup for something greater. It's a bridge to a breakthrough. And one day, what's hurting you now will be the very thing used to help someone else heal. You'll be able to say, "I've been there. I know how that feels. But God brought me through." And it won't be theory. It'll be truth. Lived truth. Battle-tested truth. And there's nothing more powerful than that. God allows tests not to watch you fail, but to reveal what He's already placed inside of you. He knows your strength even when you don't. He knows your calling even when you're confused. He sees the finish line while you're still trying to take your first step. We want clarity. He knows the victory He's leading you to, and He's using this test to prepare you for it. Don't mistake the test as God's absence. It's often in the silence, in the stretching in the fire, that He's most active, shaping, refining, preparing. We want clarity. You're being trained for more than you can see right now. That's why the battle feels so heavy, because the testimony coming out of it will carry weight. That's why the season feels long, because what God is building in you is not temporary. It's eternal. It's not just about blessing you. It's about transforming you. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not being overlooked. You're being developed. This test is the classroom of faith, and your endurance is your participation. When you come out of this, you'll have more than just relief. You'll have revelation. You'll have a story that shakes atmospheres. We want clarity. You'll have a spirit that can't be crushed. You'll have a praise that doesn't depend on circumstances. You'll be able to stand in front of others and say, "I didn't just read about God's faithfulness. I lived it. I didn't just hear about His power. I survived it. I walked through the storm, and He held me the whole way." So don't waste your test. Don't curse it. Don't run from it. Embrace what God is doing, even if you don't understand it. Trust that He's working all things, even this, for your good. Cry if you have to. Rest if you must. But don't quit, because your testimony is forming. Your story is unfolding. And when it's time to speak, when it's time to share, when God brings you full circle, you'll realize that the test was never meant to break you. It was always meant to build you. And when you speak your truth, want clarity. When you share your journey, when you tell the world how you made it through, your voice will carry power. Not because it's perfect, but because it's proven. And someone, somewhere, will hear your story and find strength in their own storm. Because your test is the training ground for your testimony. And your testimony will be somebody else's survival guide. You've been walking through the fire. You've been under pressure. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, and stretched to your limit. And you've wondered why. You've cried, "God, how much more can I take?" You've begged Him to remove the weight, to ease the pain, to shorten the storm. But what you don't see, what your spirit needs to understand, is that there is purpose in the pressure. There is power in the fire. Because faithfulness in the fire unlocks favor in the future. It's easy to be faithful when everything is going right. When the money is flowing, when the friends are loyal, when the doors are opening. But that's not where true faithfulness is revealed. Real faith is forged in the fire. When nothing makes sense, when the answers don't come, when the waiting stretches longer than you ever thought it would, that's where loyalty to God is tested. That's where faithfulness becomes more than a word. It becomes a lifestyle. God watches how you serve when no one sees you. How you worship when you're wounded. How you pray when you're empty. That's what He honors. That's what moves His hand. Faithfulness in the fire says, even if you don't deliver me today, I will still trust you. Even if the healing hasn't come, I will still praise you. Even if the blessing is delayed, I will still serve you. That kind of faith shakes heaven. That kind of loyalty unlocks doors that talent never could. Look at the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They stood their ground when the pressure to bow was overwhelming. They chose faithfulness over comfort, obedience over acceptance. They were thrown into the fire, not because they lacked faith, but because they stood firm in it. And what happened? God met them in the flames. He didn't keep them out of the fire, but He kept them in the fire. That's what He does. He doesn't always remove the heat, but He walks with you through it. Faithfulness invites divine presence. God steps into your storm when you refuse to bow to it. And when He sees you remain loyal under pressure, when you continue to choose Him over convenience, He begins to prepare the favor you don't even know is coming. He's watching how you handle lack before He gives abundance. He's testing your posture in obscurity before He elevates you publicly. Sometimes we think the fire is a sign that we've failed or that God has forgotten us. But no. The fire is often a sign that we're right where we need to be. God uses fire to refine, not to destroy. He allows the heat to expose what's empire, to burn away what can't go with you to the next level. He allows trials to strengthen what's weak in you. Your patience, your trust, your humility, your endurance. The longer you stay faithful in the fire, the stronger your spirit becomes. You stop depending on feelings and start standing on truth. You stop needing confirmation and start walking in conviction. You grow, you mature, you become someone who doesn't flinch at adversity. Clarity. Someone who's been through hell, but still has a hallelujah. Someone who can be trusted with more, because you didn't quit when it got hard. God doesn't promote based on talent alone. He promotes based on trust. Can He trust you with more? Can He trust you to carry influence and still walk in humility? Can He trust you with favor and still see you in the prayer closet? That's what He's testing in the fire. And every time you choose obedience over options, discipline over desires, commitment over convenience, you're showing heaven that you're ready for more. Favor is coming, but faithfulness paves the way. When you endure hardship with a surrendered heart, you align yourself with divine promotion. Clarity. Your future is not determined by what you're going through. It's determined by how you go through it. If you go through it with bitterness, it can break you. But if you go through it with faith, it will bless you. That's the difference. The fire can either consume you or refine you. The outcome depends on your posture. And make no mistake, God rewards faithfulness. He sees every tear you cried in silence. He heard every whispered prayer you prayed in frustration. He noticed every act of obedience when you could have walked away. Nothing is wasted. Every moment of suffering, every second of surrender, every painful, wise, you gave Him in the fire. It's building something eternal, something that cannot be taken from you, something that favor will rest on in the future. There will come a day when the storm will pass, when the fire will cool. Clarity. When the thing that once tried to destroy you becomes your platform to declare God's power. And when that day comes, we want clarity. You won't just have a blessing. You'll have a story, a testimony, an anointing. Because what you endured in faith will become what you carry in power. The favor on your life will be directly connected to the fire you didn't run from. So if you're in the fire right now, stay faithful.